happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome to UpNorthLive Unscripted at 6:30. It's so hard working with Joe Charlevoix because he just laughs at everything I say, and it's so hard. It's hard to stay focused. Just saying.
Oh, we had the jingle music there, and yeah. What's going on?
You're having too much fun over there, Joe.
Thanks.
Who let you do that?
Yeah, I don't know. But, you know, it is a nice day. Maybe that's why. There's a lot of sunshine out there today. Beautiful day. The good thing, too, down in Florida, on a more serious note, though, that Milton is done with now. You know, a lot of cleaning up, and you're going to have more on that, I know, coming up a little later in the show. We definitely could use some rain. In fact, enough so that we have a fire weather watch tomorrow. For critical fire danger as we head into Friday. It's going to be warm. We'll take a look at that. And then also when we may get a little bit more rain, I'll come up a little later.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Joe. And yeah, it was this show last night that we were looking ahead to Milton's landfall. We'll skip ahead 24 hours. Of course, it did make landfall last night in Florida around 8:30. And we are now getting a new bird's eye view of the damage that it has caused. So you can see just extreme flooding and damage from Milton's pre-landfall tornadoes, powerful winds, and heavy rainfall. And listen to this. Milton dropped roughly 16 inches of rain on St. Petersburg alone. That is a 1 in 1,000 year rainfall event for that city. Millions remain without power in the entire state, and some deaths have been reported. Crews are working to rescue people, to restore power, and to clear debris. Now, while a lot of people had to evacuate, some folks decided to just ride the storm out. And one of those folks is actually a former Traverse City resident who now lives in Carmine. He is going to hopefully join us live now. We're still seeing. Oh, is that Drew? Hey, Drew, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. So this is what
Florida
you are.
Man shows off a puddle.
Oh, my gosh. I thought this was more video that we were showing, but this is your live camera. Wow.
This is the park that kind of saved our neighborhood here. It's like 7 feet of, grabbing that rain you're just talking about. And it just gobbles it up here.
Wow.
And this is a whole park.
Oh, my gosh. It's crazy to see this sort of thing firsthand. I can't even imagine what it's been like for you to actually witness it in person. So obviously you are okay. Thank goodness.
Yes.
Is your home okay?
Yes. It was just, we were thinking at first that it was going to go into the Tampa Bay and, flood us out. But then turned out that it was going to go a bit more south. So it was more going to be about the wind. So, yeah, we had some stuff blowing around and some trees, just chopping off a bunch of power lines. Yeah. And it was just a lot of loud sound, when you hear wind, then plus add, like things, blowing with the wind. It's just like kind of a bizarre sound to hear. But I've been through about 5 of these, so I was pretty used to it. I was in zone E, so I didn't have to evacuate, but A and B did. So I decided to stay put.
So you've been through other hurricanes. How does this one compare to others?
The wind was crazy. And the thing was, there was a lot of panic kind of beforehand. Yeah. The mayor said something like, if you stay, you will die. And I think a lot of people got the message of that. And my mom did too. She was calling me. She was like, you got to get out of there. You're going to die. I was like, I'm in zone E. I'm going to be okay. I'm just going to ride this one out. And that's what it just depends where you are. Right. Some places are really bad. They're going to go way above your head. It just depends where you are.
So you are okay, and your neighborhood is, for the most part, okay, but do you have friends or family in other areas that...
Oh, yeah, in Zone A in Pinellas, they got ripped up. And, again, it was the wind, and we were thinking more it was going to be more of the tide, and then, they're just getting their outdoor patio just ripped to shreds, and there's just a bunch of stuff. You just see a bunch of wind damage more than anything, and I think we got off kind of lucky here in Tampa. Yeah.
So what was going through your mind when the hurricane did make landfall and you were hearing, like you said, all the wind and just all the weird noises? What were you thinking?
No, I was thinking that this is a good moment to be in. It was like, I just felt like, I was like, wow, this is going to be a good hurricane. And I'm here, and it was a good, not a good experience, but it was a good experience. I don't know how to explain that, but it was definitely something to remember. Sure. That's for sure. I don't know. I mean, people skydive, so why not sit through a hurricane,
Yeah, and especially like you said, because you were in an area where you did not have to evacuate. Luckily, didn't have too much damage. But, when you first opened up your door, once everything kind of calmed down a bit, what did you see? What was that like?
Well, it's like there's nothing like, it's like a zombie apocalypse or something, because everyone's kind of like wandering in the street. It's like traffic laws don't exist, and everyone's kind of like wandering, looking at things, and kind of kind of interacting with each other when normally you wouldn't say anything to anybody. Everyone's like talking randomly. So it is an interesting moment, just when everyone's assessing the damage together. And there was no power, so they probably didn't have much to do anyway. So
right. And can you kind of show us a little more about just what it all looks like around your neighborhood?
So here's just an example of what the wind's doing. And here we got a tree down. Oh man, my camera's being funny. There it is. I'm gonna walk towards it a little bit more.
Okay.
They're chopping it up right now. There's just stuff like this at every corner, and we just kind of have like these older power lines out here in Tampa Heights. But yeah, these guys are going to town. They're doing their job.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like there's too much damage, but still, like you said, a lot of downed trees.
Yes. And and I was having the ideas of roofs coming off, but for some reason, the roofs stayed on around here. So that was good.
Well, that is very good. I know a lot of other people maybe had some more damage to their homes and their neighborhoods. So it is good to see that in this particular neighborhood, not too much damage.
Yes. But yeah, A and B zones, you got to get out of there. If there's you'll be over your head. There's no getting over that. She was right about that.
And then, so what is just kind of like the mood in the community today?
The mood is no work today, and get what get your stuff done and assess the damage. I think today, assessing. I think, and that comes clear because we don't know when the power is going to come on. DeSantis said that he was assessing right now, so we'll see if it's a day or a week. Right
now, just kind of playing the waiting game.
Yes.
Well, Drew, is there anything else you want to say about your experience going through this hurricane?
Well, something my friends and I were kind of agreeing on, and maybe this is just the rebellious nature, but I felt like there was a lot of I felt like there was a lot of people telling me, you got to get out of there when they didn't know the A and B zone thing.
Yeah.
So I just want to don't think these people are fools too much when they stay. Sometimes they have a good plan. That's what I wanted to say.
Sure. All right, Drew. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Unscripted. I'm so happy to see that you're okay, your house is okay, your neighborhood is okay. It's great to see.
Tampa Heights, we're doing good.
All right, thanks so much, Drew. And we did talk with Drew a little more earlier in the day, just about more of his experience. And if you want to see that entire interview, you can go to our UpNorthLive YouTube channel. But let's change gears now to a story that we have been following for a while, and it seems like we have a pretty interesting update today. So we've been sharing stories about different cases of political campaign sign theft. I just did a story on it the other day that we shared with you. Well, today, a 27-year-old Charlevoix man is in custody in Antrim County, where he's accused of stealing 72 political campaign signs. So the Charlevoix County prosecutor, Kit Tholen, says police interviewed the man's aunt, who allegedly told him that she would pay her nephew $10 for every sign taken. So the prosecuting attorney, Kit Tholen, he says that law enforcement tracked the suspect using an Apple AirTag device that was placed in a sign by the homeowner. Let's hear more from Kit Tholen and from the Antrim County Sheriff.
What it appears they were doing is trying to inconvenience people, harass people, or intimidate people. And that's what's egregious about this situation.
Past 29 years that I have been here, it does appear that this seems to be a lot more larceny of political signs than the recent years in the past.
And Sheriff Hoke says charges in Antrim County are pending, but Tholen says he intends to charge the suspect with concealing stolen property in Charlevoix County. So let's turn things over to our question of the day related to this story. Do you have campaign signs in your yard? So it looks like we have 378 votes so far. If you haven't voted yet, scan that QR code on your screen right now. And most people, a lot of them are saying no, they don't. 66% say no, whereas 34% say yes. And like I said, this is a story that we have been following for it seems like a couple months now, ever since the election has been getting closer to actual election day. And when I did a story a couple days ago, I talked with Kit Tholen, and he shared another case of some signs being stolen there in Charlevoix County, and that person is facing a larceny charge. And the thing that's interesting about these sort of cases is prosecuting attorney Kit Tholen said that a lot of times they go underreported. A lot of people who do have signs in their yard that are then stolen, they don't report them because there's no evidence. However, with these stories that we're hearing about now, the reason why people are being caught and then prosecuted is because either there is a camera in someone's yard, or in this case, in Charlevoix County, someone put an Apple AirTag on one of the signs to then figure out who was doing it. So what Kit Tholen told me to like kind of pass the word out is that if this has happened to you, you should definitely report it. However, if there is no evidence, if there's no camera or anything like that, it is hard to really catch the suspect. And then another interesting thing, I also talked with Traverse City Police Department to see if this is something that is happening in Traverse City this year. And they told me no, they really aren't seeing a lot of sign thefts this year. But something that is happening in Traverse City that's pretty interesting is people are maybe waking up in the morning and they do have a sign that was in their yard that is gone. And they, of course, assume that it was stolen. So they'll call the Traverse City Police Department, and the Traverse City Police Department will ask them, well, where did you put the sign in your yard? And if you happen to have a sign that is in that like tree grass area that is in between the road and the sidewalk, that is technically city-owned property. So therefore, you cannot be putting any signs there. And so the police department will drive around town and will pick up those signs that are in city-owned property, and they'll take them to the police station, and they'll just kind of put them out in the back parking lot by the dumpster. So if you live in an area like Traverse City where there is a city ordinance that you cannot be putting any sort of signage on city-owned property and your sign is missing, that is a good place to check. So again, our question today is, do you have campaign signs in your yard? You can also join in on the conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can go to our Facebook post with this question of the day and leave your comments there. You can also go to our live stream of this show right now on Facebook or YouTube, and you can leave a comment there, and we will read those as the show goes on. But let's take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we will bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. He'll have much more on the forecast for our Friday. He mentioned it is going to be a warm one. That also means there's an increased risk for fire danger. So he'll have much more on that and your weekend forecast in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Well, today has been a lovely fall day across northern Michigan, and as we mentioned earlier, tomorrow is going to be another warm one, but that does bring a risk for fire danger. So for more on that, let's bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix.
Yeah, fire danger, which, you think of that more in the spring,
Yeah.
before things green up, Maya, but it's also a concern sometimes in the fall, too, and we're kind of in that scenario coming up here. Let's start off, though, with, of course, we mentioned Milton. This will probably be one of the final times I show it, but that's what it looked like crossing over Florida last night up to the current time. So, again, right around Sarasota, in the Anna Maria Island area, is where landfall was. And then it weakened to a Category 1 hurricane, still a strong storm as it crossed right over Florida. And now it is an extratropical cyclone, so it has weakened as it moved off into the Atlantic Ocean and again off into the history books. Taking a look at, the northern lights are possible tonight, and a better than usual chance. Usually you see the G numbers there. 1's low. I think 6 is the max. G1, usually we're G1 to G3. Tonight, G4, severe storm levels are possible. So, might want to take a gander at that. Skies should be clear for the most part until around midnight. After midnight, though, we'll start seeing a few clouds rolling in. Those are ahead of a warm front. You see what's off to the west of us tonight. There is an area of low pressure in a frontal boundary. That warm front will pass through, setting up a warm night, or warmer night. We won't see frost tonight. And there's a little bit of the cloud cover to the north of us that eventually later tonight will start spilling in here. We do have a fire weather watch. To what Maya was mentioning earlier, the fire danger pretty critical tomorrow. So this is in effect for Friday for all of our lower peninsula counties. It's warm, unseasonably warm. Temperatures about 15 degrees above normal tomorrow. And then we'll have a gusty wind that will shift from the southwest to the northwest as a cold front passes later in the day. And it's dry fuel. So a fire could rapidly spread a contained area. Let's look at the wind. There's tomorrow morning. The winds pick up in the afternoon, especially those orange shaded areas. We're looking at winds gusting over 30 miles per hour in spots. That's why that fire danger is pretty critical tomorrow, along with those warm temperatures. And then the wind will shift out of the north by tomorrow evening as a cold front passes. As far as any rain, the best chance is going to be Sunday. But tomorrow, as this front crosses through, right there, you can see it's around 4 o'clock. You could see a narrow line of showers or isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon. If you look at this map here, this picture, there's not a lot of rain. But a shower or thunderstorm can't be ruled out later tomorrow. And then Saturday, I don't think a ton of sunshine. It's going to be like today. But I don't think much rain. Some of the models here are spitting out a couple showers Saturday. We'll see. More likely dry, but Sunday is the better chance for rain, and there's why. Low pressure will spiral in here, bringing a pretty good chance for some rain on Sunday. Extended forecast looks like this. There's the warm day tomorrow, 70s, and then we cool down a little bit on Saturday. Best chance for some rain looks to be on Sunday as low pressure works in. And then behind that, we'll kind of get the backwash behind that system. It won't rain a lot, but we'll see a few lake effect rain showers. And Maya, the coldest weather of the fall so far. We go from the 70s tomorrow to the 40s early next week.
Pretty big difference.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Joe. And we have one more story to share with you before we take another commercial break. So North Carolina State University is heading a massive project with a goal of improving growing conditions and the market for Christmas trees. And Trevor Robideau spoke with some local state experts on how this project could impact local farmers here in northern Michigan.
Michigan is one of the top Christmas tree producing states in the country, but according to market analysts, climate change and the introduction of artificial trees has hurt the industry. Currently, there is a massive nationwide project aimed at improving the harvest for Christmas tree farmers.
So what we're after in this project is to try to select trees that are more pest resistant, that are more stress resistant. They're going to better be able to meet the environmental stresses that the trees face over their lifespan.
This project, led by North Carolina State University, is turning to genetic imprinting.
And we identify, here's this marker that codes for a better scent, for example. Okay, now we can look at that when we're starting to screen trees at a younger age. We can begin to look at those markers and identify these things more quickly. And so that's the accelerated genetics part of this thing, is really bringing in those kind of technologies. So it's that kind of technology. It's looking at the environmental stresses. It's looking at pests and diseases. It's looking at consumer preferences.
For producers in northern Michigan, this means we can use specific DNA sequences in Christmas trees that make trees more drought resistant and tolerant of warmer weather.
In my case, I work on drought stress tolerance. And so we need to find some trees that are going to be better adapted to withstanding drought, deeper root systems, conserve water, whatever they might do. These early spring warm-ups cause things to flush early, then we get a late spring frost. And so we're actually seeing more frost damage associated with climate change. And that's, again, maybe a little counterintuitive, but it's that because things are happening much earlier than normal, and then we still get, that cold that comes through in April and then freezes everything off.
This research will hopefully support the industry and lure people back to buying the classic Christmas tree.
We have hundreds of growers here in the state, mostly small family farms, and really kind of the backbone of a lot of our rural economy. And so we want those folks to be successful and to continue their work.
In Northern Michigan, Trevor Robideau, UpNorthLive News.
All right, stay with us. We're going to check in with Sports Director Harrison Beebe right after this quick break. Well, yesterday, Sports Director Harrison Beebe was down in Detroit for Game 3 between the Tigers and the Guardians. Well, he is back here at our studio in Traverse City, and we'll check in with him to get not really a preview because the game's going on right now, an update on where Game 4 stands right now between the Tigers and the Guardians. Hey, Harrison.
Hey, Maya. How are things going over there?
Things are going pretty good in here. How are things going just a little bit out there?
Things are going pretty great. As far as the last few minutes goes, in the 6 o'clock news I updated, the Guardians took a 1-0 lead in the ALDS Game 4. But just a few seconds ago, Trey Sweeney with the bases loaded tied things up for the Tigers. Actually, looks like it was going to be a pretty big inning for the Tigers in the second. It was bases loaded, 0 outs, and Sweeney popped it up to get the runner home from third. But then Jake Rogers, Mr. Mustache himself, unfortunately hit into a double play that then ended that inning really quickly after having 0 outs. But the important part is the Tigers did tie it up 1-1 now going into the third. And keep in mind, this game's crucial. If they win tonight, they advance to next week's American League Championship Series and the Major League Baseball playoff Final Four. If it doesn't go their way tonight and Cleveland comes out with the win, there will be a Game 5 on Saturday. But I know a lot of Tiger fans, with it being the home game tonight, are hoping they can close it out. We'll get you highlights of this one tonight during Sports 11. And Maya, you're wearing red tonight, so let's give a shout out to the Red Wings because they're opening their season tonight right down the street from Comerica Park as well. Wings taking on the Penguins with an 8 o'clock start time at Little Caesars Arena.
Busy day in Detroit, and Harrison will have highlights of both of those games for you tonight on Up North Live News at 11. So, Harrison, thank you for that update. Nice to see the Tigers tie things up early on in this game. We are going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll check back in with our question of the day and check out those live results. Stay with us.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Let's take another look at our question of the day. Do you have a political sign in your yard? 34% say yes, 66% say no. And in case you missed the beginning of the show, this was our question of the day because a 27-year-old Charlevoix County man is in custody in Antrim County where he's accused of stealing 72 political campaign signs. So yes, it is indeed illegal to steal campaign signs from other people's property. We have much more on that story on our website, UpNorthLive.com. But that'll do it tonight for Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope to see you back here on Up North Live News at 11. Take care.